Sure hope you had a nice weekend. Thanks for being here on this Monday. It is 6 a.m. I'm Eric Connard.
And I'm Netta Iranpour. Let's start this hour with your forecast, getting you ready. Meteorologist Vanessa Paz showing us changes on the way, maybe even raindrops.
Yeah,
Ooh, okay.
some much needed rain. It's not going to be much, though.
Okay.
I mean, we're talking about maybe a spritz here or there.
A spritz.
And actually,
We'll take
yeah,
that.
I know. We will take it, certainly. But again, we'll kind of show you the timeline as to when we're expecting some of the heaviest activity a little later. It is 6:01, what we're dealing with right now. So big focus is the fog out there. That's pretty much the main issue for drivers as they head out the door this morning. In fact, as the sun slowly starts to light up the sky, it will fully do so at about 6:40. But you could already see, in fact, the low vis, and this is out in La Jolla. So that's from one of our UCSD sky cams. It is the worst along the 5. Slowly stretching onto the 15, parts of the 15, but you can see visibility down to about a quarter of a mile out in Carlsbad. All right, we'll talk about what the rest of your day looks like along with, again, the rain. We could, get some rain. So we'll break down all of those details ahead of my full forecast. All right, let's go ahead and switch gears and talk about your freeways. It looks like some of our Caltrans cameras are down, so we'll go ahead and focus in on the traffic maps. If you're wondering what that those orangish colors are, again, we usually showcase that's where the foggiest conditions are. So from Carlsbad all the way down to Solana Beach. Let's go ahead and zoom on into what's happening out in the North County as you head southbound. We're at steady speed, 70 to 75 miles per hour. So same deal coming in from the East County. And no major issues out of the South Bay. Coming up a little later, we'll take a look at what your travel times have in store. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Vanessa. Right now, crews are back on scene. Look at this, a deadly house fire in San Marcos. And News 8's Tori Apodaca and her photographer actually spotted smoke and embers there this morning.
Yeah, and called 911. All this comes after authorities announced an arrest in connection to Saturday's fire. Tori is live back at the scene with the latest. Tori.
Yeah, and those firefighters have been out here now for about an hour since we called 911. When we arrived here just before 5 this morning, we could see that smoke, some embers, even a flame on the top of this roof. And now you're seeing firefighters just hosing down. They're on their ladder truck, hosing down the roof. They have been doing this for about an hour now. We're told that they believe that there was some residual in there, so it was really just some smoldering pieces that may have sparked and still been lingering in the roof, where we know this initial fire broke out on Saturday night and it's now Monday morning. So it was honestly shocking to see, a bit eerie too. It's dark out, we're rolling into the scene just expecting to see the aftermath of a fire, and instead we see some active flames on the top of the roof. So just out of an abundance of caution, we really just wanted to make that call just in case. I mean, we've covered so many fires and we know how embers can travel so quickly. So out of just that abundance of caution, we did make that call, and now fire crews have been hosing down this roof. But let's go ahead and take you back to Saturday night when the initial house fire broke out. You can see that it was fully engulfed in flames, just a total blaze, as firefighters say that this is what it already looked like when they got the call and they arrived. And when they went inside, they were just initially having to go straight into defensive mode, but they ended up finding 2 people dead in a second-floor bedroom. The medical examiner will determine their ultimate cause of death, but they did arrest 33-year-old Luis Alvarado, and he is facing 2 counts of murder and arson. This is a usually quiet neighborhood, but now so many are just living in shock and grieving the loss of those 2.
Know that they were amazing people, good parents, fostered, brought people in, always peaceful.
Everyone was in shock because it literally, a little bit of smoke and then flames everywhere, like the whole house was in flames.
At this point, authorities are not telling us what possible relationship there may have been between Alvarado and those 2 victims, also not identifying them at this point. But again, out here, you can see on this Monday morning, almost 2 days since the initial fire attack, they're back out here after my photographer Miguel and I did see some smoke, some embers, a bit of activity on the roof. And now you're looking at the memorial memorial that is out in front for those two victims. Of course, at the top of mind and on the hearts of so many in this neighborhood, really, as they are just grieving the loss of those two. But we will continue to be out here and keep you updated as we learn more.
Thank you for the developments and for calling in that fire again. Appreciate it, Tori. This morning, crews still monitoring this brush fire in Santee. They have stopped its forward progress. The fire started just before 7 last night in a riverbed in the 100 block of Town Center Parkway near homes and a shopping center. Some stores evacuated. The fire burned about 4 acres. No structures were damaged. The cause of this fire is under investigation. And new this morning, a Camp Pendleton Marine is in federal custody, accused of stealing weapons from the base and selling them. Court documents say Andrew Amarias worked as an ammunition technician and allegedly took Javelin missile systems and military-grade ammo, then took them to Arizona to sell. Investigators recovered at least 1 weapon, but they are still working to learn the full extent of how much was stolen. He has pleaded not guilty. And TSA officers could be paid as soon as today after President Donald Trump signed an emergency order. Right now, you are looking at a live picture from the security lines at San Diego International Airport. Our photographer out there just kind of zooming out to show you how long those lines are, how long the wait is. We've been seeing these lines sneaking in and out of the airport for the past couple weeks. This would be the first paycheck, by the way, for TSA officers in more than a month. A permanent fix to fully fund Homeland Security requires Congress to act, but they are now in a 2-week recess. Officials say more than 500 officers have quit since the partial government shutdown began. ICE will remain at several airports to help TSA for now.
All right, this morning we now know there were record crowds at this weekend's No Kings protests all around San Diego County. Police estimate about 40,000 people showed up to the largest event, that one at Waterfront Park. No arrests were made. Organizers say 94,000 people turned out across 21 separate rallies here. This surpassed last October's numbers. 14,000 participated in Carlsbad, about 6,000 in Rancho Bernardo, and about 3,000 in Escondido. A major change to food assistance is about to hit San Diego County, so listen to this. Starting Wednesday, April 1st, non-citizens who receive CalFresh will no longer be eligible for benefits because of a change in federal law. Those impacted could include some non-citizens like refugees and those seeking asylum, as well as some parolees. Officials estimate about 13,000 people in San Diego County could be affected. 13,000.
Check in with meteorologist Vanessa Paz now for a look at some changes in the forecast here.
Yeah, so we'll start to notice those changes slightly today, increasing clouds similar to yesterday. It will still be warm, but slightly cooler. And then those temperatures will continue to drop looking ahead tomorrow ahead of the potential for some rain. So let's go ahead and start off with our satellite and radar composite. You can see that push of onshore flow bringing in those clouds. A lot of those clouds are low enough to the surface where they are causing visibility issues, especially along the coastal areas. So if you're headed out the door, just make sure that you use caution and that you slow down, especially along the 5 freeway. I'm going to fast forward our cloud cover forecast to this afternoon, and you can see that those clouds stubborn to clear along the coastal areas, but we do see some uneven clearing for interior parts of the county. As we take a live look outside, here's what I'm talking about in terms of that dense fog. In fact, this is a live look from La Jolla. You could usually see the lights of the buildings in the distance. You can't see much because of, again, those low-level clouds just hanging overhead. Conditions right now out the door, we're waking up mild in the low 60s in downtown San Diego, upper 50s for those waking up in IB, Carlsbad. Ramona, you're cool at 50 degrees, and we're sitting at 49 currently in Julian. Here's what you can expect for today's high, slightly cooler than yesterday, but still really warm. I mean, we're talking 80s, and a lot of areas are still going to push anywhere between 10 to 15 degrees warmer than normal, particularly for the inland valleys. For the coastal areas, will be about 5 to 8 degrees above normal or so. Lots of mid to low 70s to go around from Oceanside all the way down to Chula Vista. All right, a lot of people are talking about this, a chance for rain. In fact, notice how it starts to climb tomorrow. We'll take a deeper dive into the rain forecast and who is expected to see the most accumulation and when. That's all ahead. 6:10 is the time. Let's go ahead and switch gears and see what's happening outside on your freeways. We are looking at the thickest fog between Carlsbad all the way down to about Encinitas, right along the 5 freeway. Speaking of Carlsbad and the Cannon Road area, it looks like we have a stalled car hauler, a tow truck likely, partially blocking the on-ramp in Carlsbad at Cannon Road on the 5 southbound. So that may slow things down for you this morning. Other than that, we're at steady speeds. If you're headed south in from Oceanside at Escondido, about 70 to 75 miles per hour or so. Same deal coming in from the East County headed west this morning. And if you're traveling in from the South Bay headed northbound, about 65 mile per hour speeds coming in from Chula Vista. Through the mile of cars, we're also still at steady speeds. So overall, fairly quiet. I know a lot of people are on spring break. So a lot of parents likely have the next couple of weeks off. So you could probably notice that on the freeways. It's pretty quiet. 10 to 15 minutes right now northbound in from San Ysidro as well as National City this morning. If you're traveling in from the East County headed west, about 3 to 7 minutes on the 94, the 8, as well as the 52. And here's what it looks like headed southbound in from Oceanside as well as Escondido. All right, let's go ahead and pull up those the border wait times and see what's happening. We are looking at a pair of 60 minutes coming inbound from San Ysidro's port of entry as well as Otay Mesa.